You enjoy podcasts. We know because you're listening to one. Hi, I'm Jason Falls, the executive producer of the Marketing Podcast Network. We love podcasts too, so much so that in addition to providing you with the great episode you're listening to, we also help businesses, brands, and even individuals produce their podcasts. MPN Studios offers podcast consulting and production services to help you get you or your business its very own podcast. We've helped dozens of smart people, advertising agencies, and brands develop podcasts. All you do is record your content or interview. We take that and deliver a professionally produced audio or video episode complete with show notes, transcriptions, and even promotional clips to use on social media. And our monthly subscription prices are hard to beat. If you or your company are jonesing to have your own podcast to establish thought leadership, drive business leads, or just have fun talking about your business or topic of choice, we'd love to help. Learn more at marketingpodcasts.net/studio. That's marketingpodcasts.net/studio. You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Heather Eck hosts an amazing show called Your Radiant Spirit. Heather, tell listeners about the show.
What if the colors you're drawn to, the creative urges you ignore, and the quiet intuitive hits you brush off are actually trying to tell you something? Your Radiant Spirit is the podcast that helps you listen and live with greater clarity and purpose.
And where can people subscribe?
You can find and subscribe at heathereck.com/yourradiantspirit on marketingpodcast.net or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. Welcome back, my friends. I'm so excited to be with you here today. I want to share something really special that's happening right now in the studio. I am releasing my latest collection of work called Drawn Toward the Light on July 15th. But folks who are on my email list, the VIP collectors, get early access and a special passcode to enter on the site so that you get to see all the pieces before they go public. To get on the wait list, you can visit heathereck.com or heathereckstudios.com. And as a special bonus this month, I wanted to do a little giveaway. I haven't done a giveaway in a really long time, and because I'm releasing this new collection of work, I thought it would be a really fun time to offer you your very own 11 by 14 print of your choice. So if you enter the list before the collection releases on July 15th, you will be entered to win a free 11 by 14 print of your choice. It can be a print from the current collection or just a print from anything else that you see and love on the site. And that is just a little thank you from me to you. My guest today, Meagan Price, was 27 years old when she had her first baby and received a diagnosis that essentially told her she had very little time to live. A secondary complication from her MS medication had crossed the blood-brain barrier, and the prognosis was quite literally terminal. What she did next is something I find extraordinary. She didn't spiral. She didn't blame anyone. She got curious. She started researching, and she ended up in what she lovingly calls hundreds of weird ladies' basements, trying every single healing modality she could find. And she found her way to medical Qigong, an ancient Chinese healing art that she now calls the mother modality. So 7 years later, her son is 7, she has 0 chronic symptoms, and she's one of the most vibrant, clear, and alive people I've ever met on this show. She's a certified medical Qigong doctor and Reiki master teacher, and she runs Healing Time out of Utah, working with clients in person and all over the world. You're going to love this conversation because we talk about the connection between your emotions and your physical body, the difference between guilt and shame, the 3 pillars of all healing: purge, tonify, and regulate, and what it actually means to meditate. Spoiler, it might not be what you think. I hope you enjoy this show, my friends. Let's get into it. Meagan, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy to see your face and to get to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too.
I loved connecting with your mom, Mary. I was on her show like a year and a half ago. She's wonderful. And she suggested that you be a guest on the show, so I'm so happy to get to it's a family affair.
It's so kind. My mom's amazing, and her podcast too. I love the episode that you're on. I
Oh,
highly recommend it. It's amazing.
thank you, thank you. Well, I'd love to kind of dive in and go back to the beginning. You received an MS diagnosis, and that led you to explore alternative healing paths. Can you take us back to that and what led you to where you are today?
Totally. So I was diagnosed with MS when I was 22, 21, 22. And at the beginning, I was, you know, not worried about it because, at that young, you're like fearless. And so I kind of just continued to live my life. About 4 or 5 years into the diagnosis, I started taking medication. They recommended it earlier, but I was like, I'm fine. I don't need any of this. That was a bad call. Because I had been diagnosed with the rapidly progressing version of MS.
Okay.
Um, that's not necessarily a terminal diagnosis. Many people live with MS into their old age and are fine. The medications that come out are always cool and innovative, but there are always risks. And so I was in a high risk group with a high risk MS. And I had done multiple medications and had multiple scares of some of the high risk side effects. And then I wanted to get pregnant. And so around 27, when I was 27, about 5 years later, I had to get off medication. So, I discussed it with my doctors, when's the right time. And then I got off medication. I had a baby, the most wonderful little boy, and it was beautiful. And after birth, I wanted to breastfeed. But the doctors were like, you need to get back on medication right now, because when you're pregnant with an autoimmune disease, your body stops attacking itself and starts protecting the baby, which is super cool. It's amazing that our body does that.
Yeah.
But then post a birth, a birth is very physically taxing on the female's body. And all that stress when you no longer have a baby inside of you kind of compounds, and you never know with how the hormones of breastfeeding are going to go. And so their recommendation was like, no, we should get you back on medication sooner rather than later. And sound advice, it was great. I chose not to listen, shocker. And I wanted to continue to breastfeed. So I breastfed for 5 months, and then they were like, no, you really need to get back on medication. The symptoms are getting pretty intense. And I was like, okay. So I continued to breastfeed for another 3 months and continued to pump so I would have stock for the rest of the year. And then we got to 8 months, I started the medication. And within, just a few rounds, I contracted a rare secondary disease as one of the side effects. And it's called PML. It's a virus that passes through the blood-brain barrier and begins to eat the gray matter in your brain. And they gave me 3 months to live, and that's kind of it. And they were like, that's the end of the road. We knew it was a risk. You signed all these consent forms. This is where we're at. The test, even just to test for PML, is like a 2.5 week test. So
Oh my God.
you're staring down this very finite small window of me not being able to see my son's first birthday, right? That's what we were staring down. And waiting for all this testing, waiting for all these things, I couldn't bear that. And so I was like, okay, well, I grew up with a hippie mom, as you know. That I'm the master of my domain. I'm the master here. I can decide what happens. And so I started looking, who else has a different answer? Because this is not the only one. Someone else out there has got some crazy answer that is going to help. And so I started doing research into anybody and anything that would give more time. Along the way, I found hundreds of modalities. I ended up in hundreds of people's weird ladies' basements, which is funny because that's now where my studio is I'm the weird lady in my weird basement. It's awesome. It's all the things.
Right.
And it was a beautiful journey. Some of the realizations, I mean, and you never have more time than when you're facing that, right? I suddenly had all the time to do this work that I never had time to do before. And the realizations that I had been putting off, or the pieces of fear I didn't want to confront, just became easier when I had more tools to do it, different tools to do it, tools that I always felt like I had to face this head on and like fight with and struggle with it. Suddenly the path became so easy.
Mm.
And over the course of it's been a minute. My kid's 7. So I mean,
Wow.
over the last 7 years, I've spent my life dedicated to traveling and finding different groups to speak with about this and learn about this, and going back to, I mean, even like college and school, and learning more about the physical body from an anatomical and physiological perspective, studying just everyone and everything that would give more time. And it has been a beautiful journey. So that's kind of how I ended up here. Very weirdly cross-trained and in a beautiful way. It's been very fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. I can imagine you as a new mom, you're breastfeeding, there's already so much heightened emotion around that time. And then to receive a diagnosis like that, you must have just been like devastated initially. Like, what the hell, you know?
I think I probably was. You're probably right, but I was so disconnected from my emotions.
Mm.
Devastation wasn't even an option. Very early in my diagnosis of MS, and I mean, this was probably the best piece of advice that I ever was given. I'm in the doctor's office for the very first time, the very first neurologist I ever saw, and he in the office he's like, "This is 99% likely that this is MS." And I was like, "I don't even know what that word means." And he was like, and he looked at me straight in the eye and was like, "Don't get depressed." And I was like, "Okay, I hear you." He's like, "Whatever it is, we'll handle it. But like the spiral is what kills people." And I was like, "Okay,
Oh my
heard."
gosh.
But that served me really well, because I mean, the emotion stuffing didn't serve me great, but the concept of, hey, whatever it is, we'll find the next step.
Okay.
So when I faced this diagnosis, I went through the same process of like, it wasn't like, okay, I remember sitting in the doctor's office and him telling me this, that this is what's going on, and this is what the timeline looks like. And I never once was like, well, this is the end. I was like, fuck that, here we go. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step? Because if it's not you, someone else has another answer, and we're gonna keep, because I wasn't done. But that drive and desire to live came from some unhealthy habits. Sometimes we view our life through that lens of like, oh, this is unhealthy, or this is not a good thing, this is not a great trait to have. But in reality, it was gearing me up for that exact moment,
Mm.
to have that reaction, to lead me here, which is the happiest I've ever been,
I
and the
love that.
healthiest I've ever been, which is great.
That's great. So where did you start? You said you mentioned being in a lot of weird ladies' basements. Where what did you start with?
I actually started, and I mean, things happen just exactly the way you're supposed to have them. My sister-in-law had recommended this weird thing, go get a session of treatment done, and I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. This was 10 months prior to this secondary diagnosis. She'd recommended it, and I had asked her for it. I was like, what's the name of that place again? Tell me again. I asked her at least 3 times. And it wasn't until that day in the office, I was like, well, I know my first stop.
Mm.
That practitioner happened to be a practitioner of medical Qigong. That was actually my first stop, and has been my favorite modality ever since. I've
Oh
then
wow.
since studied, I mean, if you can think of it, I've practiced it, and taken a course in it. And I love that.
Yeah.
But medical Qigong is what I always come back to. Yeah, for 1,000 reasons, but it's one of my favorites.
Tell us about medical Qigong. So I have a friend who's a Qigong practitioner and a Reiki master teacher as well, but I've never heard of medical Qigong.
So, yes, so there are multiple different versions of Qigong, largely 3 primarily. So there are martial, which is what most people practice. Most people are practicing some version of martial Qigong. This concept of moving your body in a fashion to stimulate the Qi flow, to grow obvious or subtle power within self. It's beautiful. It falls, so Tai Chi, which is probably more popular, more people have heard of Tai Chi or seen, people in the park doing it. Tai Chi is a version of martial Qigong. It actually comes from the same lineage. There are fun stories about that, but it comes from the same lineage. Then there's spiritual Qigong. This would be like what you would study in like a monastery of a Chinese temple, or Reiki is a great example. Reiki actually comes through the Qigong lineage. Usudi Sensei studied Qigong for 30 years in some of the high temples before he does the meditation where he receives the Reiki download and comes down the hill, all that. That whole lineage that you get when you do the Reiki training, 30 years prior to that. And even the meditation he does underneath the waterfall, that's all medical Qigong, or all spiritual Qigong, which is very cool. And then there's medical Qigong, which is kind of a blend of the other two, of martial and spiritual. And it involves table work. Not everyone does table work, and certainly most martial artists and most spiritual, not so much. But the medical is all about the table work, which I love. And it's twofold. So like when I come into a medical Qigong class, I am coming because my physical conduit needs to be cleaned. So then I can help others find that same balance on the table. So it's both. So there's a whole bunch of this martial exercises that I'm moving my own physical body every day, multiple times a day, doing specific exercises. And then there's the spiritual part of like right then the quiescent states of meditation, both coming together so I can manifest physical energy on the physical realm to physical plane to move energy in someone else's body. So that's a little bit about what it is. It's an ancient Chinese art to purge, tonify, and regulate your body.
Okay.
In short, that was a much longer description than in short, but yes. So some people practice Qigong, but they may not practice medical Qigong, which is just a little bit different.
So with medical Qigong, are you sort of employing like medical intuition? Are you looking in the body? What are you moving are you moving the energy? Are you teaching somebody to move the energy? Is it a little bit of both?
Both, definitely both. So yes, it is in the body, but it's also in your, most people call it the auric field, but in Qigong we call it your Qi field, or your spirit field, which is beyond that even. And so it is moving all these external fields as well as moving internally in the body and finding those layers of existence within each organ and working through them and finding the emotions behind each organ. What I love about medical Qigong and traditional Chinese medicine, which I have doctorates in all of these, which I spend a lot of time studying these ones.
Yeah.
Is that I have yet to come across any other modality, no matter where I have studied in the world, that is not relying on medical Qigong and traditional Chinese medicine basics.
Okay.
Not a book I picked up, it's just, I've yet to find one.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that all these other modalities have roots in medical Qigong. You can kind of go
mother
back.
modality. Yep, I call it the mother modality. So I mean, again, I've studied over 200 different modalities, and some in like really weird spaces, mind you. Please note, like, I just got back from a study in Finland where I studied with some shamani practitioners, over the Sami people. Amazing, a beautiful study. But like the roots of it come far deeper than that. And I was like, oh, these are principles that came and have been passed down through a lineage, probably from when like the culture that came over and became the Sami people would have been called the Mongolians, right? That's how the passes through, becomes this Viking tradition. And so like you know what I mean? That we're thinking back so far back in the human existence. That's how long medical Qigong has been permeating the world, traditional Chinese medicine. So yes, I like that. Right, and depending on where your master has studied from, or the lineage of which your master comes through, you get so much of even like, right, the Hinduistic versions of that coming through, some of the pranayamas, and then some of the Qigong even sounds a little bit more Ayurvedic in its practices, because some of those cultures like butt right up next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so depending on where your master came from in that demographic of that chunk of the world, we see so many, again, I just haven't yet to find a healing art that has not come through there. So
Wow. Oh, that's fascinating. I'd love to learn more about that. I
yeah,
think that's so interesting that you can kind of go back and say, this is sort of where all of this healing began.
totally.
And from there, you know, like you said, you have the library of over 200 modalities. You sort of pick and choose which one is going to work for which person, depending on
Yeah.
what it is that they're going through. But there are so many tools out there. And that's one of the reasons why even I wanted to start this show was to help share with people that there are so many tools out there available. You just have to find the one that speaks to your spirit.
And that's the piece. It's the one, because I mean, like, I'm over here being like, medical Qigong is awesome, but it's not for everybody. I have multiple clients that come in and I'm like, well, let's start with the heavy hitters. And it's not their modality. And
Yeah.
so like, we got, okay, let's work backwards. What else might work for you? Let's do some foot zoning. Let's do some Reiki. Let's do some sound therapy. Let's do some, I mean, pick a modality. Let's just find the tools that work for you. That's the
Yeah.
piece. And so you asked, like, what does the table session look like? We are going in and physically helping and supporting the organs, purging them, tonifying them, regulating them. But then also afterwards, it's about teaching because
Hmm.
I can never heal you. Spoiler, I can't heal you. I can reset your body and I can help you find that peace, but I can't heal you. You have to agree to the healing. You have to agree
Hmm.
that from here on out, I want this to be my reality and
Hmm.
do, the work to have that be the case.
And take responsibility for your own healing too.
And then have new tools. So when every time you
Yeah.
come for a table session, you always leave with a new exercise. And of like, here's what to do, here's how to do it, here's exactly what and it looks just like we call them prescription exercises. Where you
Yeah.
have a time of day you're going to do it, the amount of reps you're going to do, here's exactly what to do. And every time people come, I mean, the exercises are weird. People, I mean, it's like a little bit like Tai Chi in the park, and they're like, this doesn't seem at all related to the fact that I came in complaining about back pain, and you want me to make noises with my mouth? That doesn't seem related at all. It is related, I promise. You just got to get there.
It is. It is related. It's all
It's
connected.
related,
It's all connected.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta try again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have questions for you about your clients and who you've worked with, but I also want to kind of stay with you a little bit and ask, okay, so you went to medical Qigong and
Mhm.
you are facing down this timeline of like potentially you departing from the earth. So where did you start? Did you start with your emotions? Did you start with the physical? Did you start with this? What were you sort of going through and challenging yourself to work through your own modalities to find healing?
Yeah, yeah. I think for the first time when I started, now this is a more commonly accepted piece now, but even just 7 years ago, it was not.
Mm-hmm.
That my emotional state was causing physical reactions.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I grew up very corporate America, right? My mom started a company and we all worked in it every day of our lives. And even now, still, like that is something that we all still are a part of. I love that. And it is definitely a part of my life, but it is not anymore my whole life.
Mm.
And I had spent so long ignoring my emotions, and not even being able to be in integrity with what I was feeling.
Mm.
And so realizing that, like, oh, and I mean, I had been in talk therapy since I was like 11. And so the fact that that had never dawned on me that my emotions were causing physiological reactions was the problem.
Right.
And so having that kind of realization that the emotions that I was feeling from whatever, and it doesn't matter, from whatever, are causing physical reactions. And gaining the knowledge necessary to intersect that wisdom
Mm.
is probably where we very first started. And still
Okay.
now, of like,
And still now, yeah.
yeah, it's a huge part of my life to start tracing that back and be like, I can feel
Yeah.
that in my body. Yes. So,
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the work that I do as well, which is looking at what's the spiritual root cause of the physical issue or disease? Because
Yeah.
I remember I got high blood pressure diagnosis years ago, and it's something that I still am working on lowering. And
Mm.
I remember my spiritual teacher said to me, like, you fix the spirit, you fix the body. So there's a spiritual root cause for your blood pressure. You have to figure out what that is. You have to be able to work on that and clear it. And something really important that you just said, I want to key in on is being in integrity with your emotions. Like,
Mm.
can you say more about what that means and how people can go about being in integrity with their emotions? Because I think, and you probably know this too, like all of these emotions, they affect our organs, they affect the way that our bodies function, they affect, and they're
Sure.
all messages from our spiritual selves that something is
Totally.
not quite right. And when you can fix that, or you can start to work on actively trying to find alignment with it, the body will respond in kind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, yes. So definitely that the spirit guides the chi and the chi guides the blood, and vice versa. The blood can guide the chi and the chi can guide the spirit. Like it can work both ways, right?
Mm, hmm.
And I can't, and most of the time from a Western perspective, we're trying to move, if we move the blood through nutrients and physical movement or medication, that like the rest of it can come into alignment. And that is possible. However, there's so many blocks around it because largely of what you just said, the integrity piece.
Mm,
So when we say integrity, sometimes people hear honesty, and that is part of it. It's not all of it, but it is part of it. But when I say integrity, I think more like structural integrity, like
mm,
the integrity of a building. Am I in alignment enough that I'm able to receive, perceive, and understand my own emotional state, my thought patterns behind it, all of the pieces that make up me, who I am? So one of the pieces I tell you, so the first piece would be identifying it. How do you know if you're out of integrity with your emotions? The great news is your body comes built in with the trigger of how you know.
right.
The opposite of integrity is guilt. If you're feeling guilt or shame, you are not in integrity.
Mm,
That's the spoiler. Now, sometimes people heard me say dishonesty, like that you're lying. And again, that can be part of it. You can be lying to yourself or to somebody else. But that's not everything. I mean, like, if you are feeling guilt, it's pointing you and saying, hey, something's wrong.
mm-hmm,
Something happened that is not in the truest alignment with who you truly are.
mm-hmm.
When guilt becomes shame, we have a separate issue. But for the most part, the guilt trigger is a beautiful thing. The problem is that our parents, largely our parents, but society, use the guilt trigger to tell you you're out of alignment.
Mm.
The concept of guilt tripping, right? That like we're going to send you on a guilt trip.
Yep.
You should be doing. If you're using the word "should," you are feeling guilt. You
Mm.
or trying to force someone else to feel guilt. If you're
Right.
shooting yourself or shooting other people, you are trying to use guilt to recognize that misalignment.
And how many of us should all over ourselves all day long?
Stop that! Stop using that word. Try it up. Come on. No, it's the most useful
Right?
word. I certainly have the opportunity to, and that's a conversation to have. But the stopping using of the word should allows you, that's the first piece, to come back to alignment of saying, okay, so what's actually an integrity? Because the
Mm-hmm.
shoulding is trying to force the guilt to get you to do what you feel is in alignment with yourself. Very cool use of the trigger, but that's also a great example of how I'm the master of my own domain. I'm the
Right.
one creating that. No one cares what you should be. No, it's your life. You could do those things, and whatever that is, someone else could have done that, but I should be
Oh
doing this. I
gosh.
should be taking care of myself this way. You should be doing this nicer to me. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. That's people trying to use the guilt because they already know they're out of integrity. So recognition is the first piece. How do you
Okay.
know? The guilt is the great thing. The biggest problem is largely because we were taught that at the hand of our mother, this nurturing essence, and whether that was actually physically your mother or your father or whoever was showing up in that mothering role in your younger years, used that guilt tool to get you to where we needed you to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different. That's okay. It happens. Parents are doing their best with the only tools that they have, right?
Exactly.
This is what we call generational trauma. You keep handing it down. But because of that, and because it happens at such a young age, oftentimes those guilt patterns of I should be doing this or you should be doing this change into shaming, whether self-shaming or being ashamed of others or shaming someone else into behavior. So what's the difference between guilt and shame? I'm sorry, I did not mean to set that up like a question. I teach a lot. Can you tell?
Oh, that's
Let me just.
you're okay. I was like, oh,
and I know. I'm just going to tell you.
tell me. Yeah.
The difference between guilt and shame is guilt is this isn't okay, or this was not the best. This wasn't good. This isn't where I want to be. And so this was bad. I'm going to come back to integrity. It's the trigger that like things are out of integrity. Shame is I am bad. Something has happened, and now not just that this moment wasn't ideal, or this wasn't great, I can come back to alignment. It's that I am bad. This happened, and now I am bad, or I am wrong, or I am the worst, or I am any comment like that starts with the I am phrase that's negative. That's shame. It's the lowest vibration we can feel. Right. And crawling out of that is tremendously difficult because you've started the whole concept of saying, this is now who I am. This is even the concept behind most trauma. Trauma, again, a word that we misuse. People use the word trauma and are like, actually mean traumatic. Like something happened and it was a traumatic event. Everyone's got something like this. There's nobody that escaped without that. But trauma is whatever that moment was. You took some of it and said, this is who I am now. It's me. This is me now. I am this moment. But it's not because of the moment or whatever was wrong or whatever happened. That was in the past. Trauma is what you've decided to claim and make yourself. I am this now. This is all kinds of shame wrapped up in trauma. And then because of the trauma that you're keeping, the triggering. Owning both of those pieces of wherever you're forcing yourself to be in shame. Anytime you're forcing yourself to dim your light, that's shame, baby. And then owning of like the opposite of that, or even like just the step better than that, guilt. Guilt is actually a beautiful emotion. Guilt is the trigger that says, oh, that's out of alignment with who I am. Win. There are times, and this is a recent discovery for me of like where I can feel the guilt emotion outside of anything occurring. I'll just come to my husband and be like, I am feeling guilty and I don't know why. And the reality is not that I'm feeling guilty about something. It's that I'm feeling out of alignment, but that feels like guilt. It should feel like guilt in your body. And so understanding that, especially because you've probably been fed a steady diet of guilt and shame your whole life.
Yeah.
So this is the first steps in becoming aware of that emotional path and how you begin to realign it. Because you're right. It's where everything intersects.
So that's beautiful. Thank you for that wonderful explanation. I think there are probably so many people out there listening who are like, yeah, I feel that way most of the time, most of the day, right? Especially as moms, I'll say we probably feel guilty most of all, like I didn't do this today. I didn't do that today. I should have done this. I should have done that. We shit all over ourselves all the time. So you recognize that feeling is in your body. You're like, okay, I feel guilty. Bingo, now what do I do? What do I do with that? When I recognize that feeling, where do I go?
So this is great. So wonderful. Any modality you've talked to or any person you've meditated with, what is the first step of meditation? Any meditation you've ever done? What's the first
Close your
one?
eyes, sit still.
Okay. And sit, okay, well, Oh, this is a separate conversation about, maybe this is a separate episode where we talk about that's not the only way to meditate. But okay, so you're
Right.
going to close your eyes and do what?
Breathe.
Take a deep breath. That's correct. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the whole concept of this integrity, guilt, shame, courage, doing the right thing, that this whole concept that we're talking about, lives in your lungs. Those emotions vibrate at the same vibration that your lungs are in. So when you're told to take a deep breath, okay, what I'm doing is I'm recentering that integrity center of myself. 3 deep breaths. You're in the middle of a turmoil. How many times have you been told, take 3 deep breaths? It's not a joke. It's literally recentering your alignment to self. It is the integrity center of your body, those lungs. Taking a good deep breath will not only stimulate your lungs, it should stimulate the peristotal sac, which I'm pointing to, but you can't see. This sac down here in your belly.
Okay.
But the diaphragm pushes down on that sac, which should stimulate your liver, your stomach, your spleen, your large and small intestines, your kidneys. The whole thing is all wrapped up. And so it should automatically trigger energy movement and physical movement, blood movement through the rest of your lower bowels, your lower abdomen, everything that's not your heart and your lungs. This is the piece, is that when we take deep breaths, most of the time people are breathing.
Yeah.
That was a deep breath. This shouldn't move at all. None of this is what's actually moving. This, my shoulder, none of it is coming where it's coming from. A breath comes from your diaphragm contracting. And when it does, it pulls down into your lower abdomen. But when it pulls down like that, what it does is it's creating a vacuum. The air just flows in. If you ever are breathing from here and you're like, no, that's not where the breath is coming from. So that's you up here, not in your brain.
In your brain, yeah.
Not in your body. 3 deep breaths can realign that illusion and bring you back to yourself and to that integrity. So that's why most meditations that you do, whether it's a moving meditation or a standing meditation, or even just like I'm in my day-to-day life and I'm feeling chaotic, 3 deep breaths, take 3 deep breaths. And it is a genuine piece of coming back to self, back to that integrity. Like a structure, again, like your body is basically a giant building, right?
Yeah.
And I need to stack that building correctly to be able to move forward, to withstand the wind, to withstand the next piece.
Yeah. I think so many of us are walking around with faulty buildings, broken foundations. And
I mean, and from absolutely. And from whether we mean like physically the way your bones are stacked, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
That we're standing incorrectly all the time, as well as like the emotional,
energetic. Yeah.
Yeah. That we have created these illusions around what we have to be, when in reality, no one cares. The only person that cares is you. You're the one creating that suffering. And it just is. There's nothing, and this is the pieces that everyone's on that same journey. Everyone's with you. There's nothing wrong with that. And you get to make the choice. Do I want to stay here? Or do I want to look for something else? That's the piece about clients, even the people, anybody that's made it this far into this podcast, anybody that comes to my table, they're listening because whatever tools you have aren't working.
Right.
Whatever tools you have aren't working. Now, hopefully you don't have to get at death's door to make that change. I did, and it sucked. It's the worst. Staring down, facing, losing everything you have spent your life building. And even in 27 years, right? That's how long, in just 27 short years, I built a life I couldn't bear to leave. Hopefully you don't have to get there. Find some new tools. 3 deep breaths is a great place to start.
That's a great place to start. And the other thing you mentioned at the beginning too was that all of a sudden you had time for the things you hadn't made time for. Yeah. And I thought that was so powerful because I think a lot of us don't make time for the healing, for the work, until we realize we don't have time. And then suddenly it's the most important thing.
And it's funny because when I said that, I don't know if you did, but I'm sure some of your listeners will, but you thought I meant that I suddenly had a better priority list. There's a country song that's all about this, and I'm blanking on it now. But suddenly I just had more focus for the things that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of it. It's not none of it. But I mean physically, like I have so much time. I have so much time, I don't even know what to do with it all.
So
I
wait,
mean,
are you
like-
talking about like eliminating the idea of time clocks, like forgetting time and just focusing on you?
I mean, how weird did you want to get in this podcast? But
I
yes,
mean-
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean,
The
like
time is not
I
real.
it's an illusion. I work a 9-to-5 job. I work 40 plus hours a week. I work in a family company. I love the work I do. It's in the hospitality industry. I get to show up every day and make other people's days wonderful. I love my job. I don't want to quit my job because I love it so much. Like there's nothing like the service industry. Oh my God. Once you've never had a job until you've made a bride's day and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my lifeblood. It's everything. It's I love it. It's great. But similarly with what I do here at Healing Time, where you're looking at right now, it's a service thing of when I get to show up and serve others. I like that. But some people are like, I don't have, time to make healthy meals because, I work this busy schedule. Okay, I get that. I really do. But now, I mean, I cook 3 hot meals a day for my family and I love it.
Mhm.
I have the time I meditate probably 7 hours a day, maybe more, depending on the day. Sometimes I'm in more intensive trainings, and so they're 12 hours a day, but I'm still able to do that. And I am super mom. I am the best mom of all time. I spend so much time with my kid, and I feel like I'm like living the real life Bluey episode where like, do you have a job? What is it? But I like get to live that every day. I love that. And I mean, like, I have time to still help clients and to see all these other things and take care of my home and take care of my community. And oh my gosh, I watch so much TV. Like people sometimes are like, oh, I love movies. I love movies. This is great. It's also how any extraordinary gifts come through. Like they seem like I'm watching a scene in a movie, but it means I get to watch movies to like intersect that. I like that. I love it. Oh my gosh, I read so much. I have so much time. I have so much time to read. I have so much time. I have so much time. Just even this weekend, I had 2 days where I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I've got just like 8 hours of nothing scheduled. I don't even know.
my
I don't have
gosh.
anything to do. The crazy part is that is the commonplace. Once people truly start on this journey, the thing that you suddenly have tons of, it's time.
Mm.
Part of it's because the recognition of that's what I was actually after.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wasn't after. People think that I wasn't actually after breathing easier, having lower blood pressure. I wasn't actually after that. That's the secondary piece.
Right.
I'm actually after the only reason you care about having high blood pressure is because I wanted more time. I want those 50, 60 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want that. I want to live to 120. That's what I want. Well, okay, then we have to care about today about how many fruits and vegetables did we eat. That's
Right.
what the timeline
Right.
looks like. But it comes from having time.
Mm.
So yes to all of that. And so because of that, I mean, like you and I were talking just before we started recording about when you start creating the time to dedicate to your healing, the things that are taking up more time than they should begin to ease. Like sleep. If I make time for 7 hours of meditation, I told you this math before we started, but
Yeah.
every minute of meditation is equal to 5 minutes of sleeping. It's equivalent. It's a 1-to-5 ratio. So if you meditate for just 10 minutes a day, you basically got an hour of sleep.
I love this.
Yeah.
I've never heard this before.
Oh, it's a study that's been done multiple times. The most recent version that I read was from Stanford. It's a great study, but of like how if you meditate, how equivalent to sleeping is it? There's another study that it was done. Oh, I don't want to misquote this one. I think it was the University of Chicago, but I honestly can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But of hypnosis, which would be so meditating, like I said, an insight timer, right? And I'm just
Mhm.
clearing my mind for 10 minutes versus like a deep state of meditation or self-hypnosis is like a 10-to-1 ratio.
Wow.
You wake up feeling crazy refreshed. So again, the difference is really beautiful. Because that deeper state of meditation can lead to just everything. And so that sleep is one of the first things that like you get to do a little bit less of, or I just feel less tired. I'm just less tired. One of the biggest symptoms of MS is that you're sleepy. I wish people understood the first symptom of most major diagnoses is tiredness.
Yeah.
Which I
The
like,
fatigue.
how can you possibly distinguish that from like our day-to-day lives? I don't know. I don't
Aren't
understand.
we all tired?
Tired. But you don't have to be. So, I mean, there was a time when the MS was the heaviest that I would like I would get up in the morning and I would go to work and I'd come home at like 2 and need to sleep. Not just like, oh, I'm going to take a 10-minute power. No, I'd sleep for like 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Wake up at 6, eat food, feed my kid, feed my husband, and go back to bed at like 9. Like I just needed sleep. And you would wake up and you were still like bone tired. Like my priorities were so out of whack. And now I just need less sleep. The cleaning of my brain gets to stay so clean. That's one of the reasons people misunderstand, again, why do we need so much sleep? You need 8 to 9 hours of sleep because that's how many sets of the REM cycle you need for the CSF fluid to clean your brain of the excess proteins and buildup from the day. But if you're giving your brain and your body that in a state of alertness and awakeness, it's allowed to do the cleaning throughout the day.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so you don't have this huge amount of buildup at night that you have to clean out. That's why
That makes
you
sense.
need less sleep.
Yeah, it makes total
Um,
sense to me. Have you seen
yeah.
Joe Dispenza's studies on meditation and like cellular
Mm-hmm.
regeneration and all of that?
Regeneration. Yep.
Yeah, it makes total sense because your body is healing itself while it's sleeping.
While it's sleeping.
And if
Yep.
you're
Oh, while it's
meditating,
meditating. Yeah.
you're sort of replicating that sleep cycle in a way. So you're helping the body find restoration and
Yep.
rest.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing. It's
It
amazing.
is
I
amazing.
mean,
I'm just telling you. And so then it comes down to the question of when I say, because you mentioned it, like close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths is how we usually start most meditations.
yeah.
However, that's not what the word meditation means. When I'm referring to meditation I'm referring to any time you are mind, body, and spirit present.
Mm,
Well, that can be any time.
really?
I could be mind, body, and spirit present anytime. I could be that way right now as I'm speaking these words to you. I could be that way as I'm sitting and typing at a desk. I could be that way as I was parenting a child. You can exist in those states of meditation anytime. It can be a 24/7 existence. It does not
Mm.
have to be this thing that I scheduled out. I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to do my yoga class, and I'm going to spend 10 minutes at the end doing my meditation. No, that is a kind of a shitty form of meditation instead of living that way and getting to a place where you get to live that way. And when I said I have so much time, think about when you meditate. And even if you just meditate for 3 minutes, 30 seconds, it feels like forever. Ooh, have you ever seen, there's a funny meme out there that's like, if I was ever in a doctor's office and they were like, you have a minute to live, I would do a plank because then that minute feels like it's eternity.
In eternity.
That is a form of meditation. Doing a plank like that, if that's where you're at, that's meditation. You've never had 60 seconds last so long as you doing a plank.
And your mind, body, spirit present there, aren't you?
You are present like crazy. That is a form of meditation. Now, I mean, it doesn't have to be so stressful. It can be relaxing
Right.
too. But that anytime. So when I'm playing with my kid, it feels like it's years when I'm able to spend just 5 minutes being completely present with him. And it feels like to him, like I just spent 20 years of our lives together. Because It's all about being present. So how do you get there? When I very first started meditating, I thought, and how many times have you heard that? Just be present in your life.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm always present. Because I thought if I took a snapshot of my life, I could panic and worry and think about anything that was going on. And that's me being present. That's presently happening in my life. Yeah. We've got political distress, and we've got world problems, and I've got a dog that's pooping out in my house, and all my kids got, no, that's the opposite of being present. By that, I mean is that my mind, body, and soul is completely absorbed by one thought. You have over 10 million messages being funneled through your brain every second. Over 10 million. That's not an overestimation, that's an actual number. Every second. But how often are you focused on just one of them? Rarely. But that's what meditation is.
Yeah.
When I'm at my desk typing, I'm focused on how the buttons feel as I press down each and every button. What does this sound like in my office as I'm doing so? Can I hear that? It took me a long time to get to that space where I was able to then be in that place of such hyper awareness for every second. And it's not every second. I'm not that masterful, but I'm trying and I'm working. And it starts by purging, tonifying, and regulating. I've said that phrase a couple of times. And so let me explain what those three are.
Yeah, please do.
These are the three pillars of wellness. And so if you're ever in your life and you're like, I'm looking to make a change or have my life look different or anything, any equivalent of that, these are the three steps. You have to have tools in each one of these to make those changes. So purging was the first one I said. We're detoxifying. We're getting rid of that which does not work for you. And that's all that is. It's just ridding yourself of that. This is very much the Marie Kondo of, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't fuel you, then we're getting rid of it. We're just going to clear. Then we have the tonifying, the second one, adding back in that which is in the right vibration for each location. And then we have the third, which is regulating. Healing does not happen overnight. Healing is not, well, I've decided. And no, it's an everyday journey. And so that every day we have to make sure you're regulating enough. So wherever you are in that healing journey, your body can use all of the new energy we just added back in.
Yeah.
Or like, right, if you do a massive purge of something, we got to make sure that you're regulated enough that you don't revert and go back and like, oh, I'm gonna start collecting that again. I got to keep it. No, we don't have to keep it. Purge, tonify, and regulate. I give one of the best examples are like, oh, I want to lose weight. Okay, great. Well, we've got to stop eating Oreos. We've got to start eating vegetables. And we got to make sure that your body can absorb those nutrients. And it's basics, right? That's it. Marie Kondo was a great example. I want my life to feel less toxic. All right, well, we've got to purge the stuff that's clearly cluttering up the energy. We've got to add in the right stuff back in. It wasn't just about getting rid of it. It was coming to regulation and coming to that I'm going to add the right stuff back. And then making sure that, like, right, whatever those habits were that were causing the over purchasing or the over cluttering, have a space to be heard without having to resort to old tools.
Yep.
And so having tools in each one of those three pillars is super important. The tools for those are expansive. What kind of tool did you want to have? I like the tools that make me feel uncomfortable. I'm always on the hunt for that, which is going to seem really hard. I like that. Because it's pointing me and saying, hey, you have pain here. Let's go fix that. Okay, let's go fix that. But there are tools that don't have to feel that way. And the right tools, as we said before, for you and that's what we want to help you find, is the right tool.
And that's your work, right? That's what you and your husband do.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I don't know about you, but I could talk to you for hours and hours, but I'm cognizant of your time. We have time, right? We have so much time. We have time.
So much time.
Please tell the listeners where they can find you and how they can work with you. I
love that. So we have a website. It's called Healing Time Utah. We work from a distance, so I have clients all over the world, as well as if you live locally, come join us in person. HealingTimeUtah.com or HealingTime on Instagram. You can find us and message us.
Awesome. And you have some special offers too for the listeners on your
Yeah.
upcoming Reiki course and on intuitive sessions too.
Yeah. So anyone that listened and wants to come for a session, a table session, whether in person or virtual, I have a discount code that we offered. And if you want to come for our upcoming training for Reiki, we have a 20% off coupon as well. So
awesome. And that code is Elevate20 for the upcoming Reiki course and Heal You 20 for 20% off intuitive sessions. And I'll put all of these notes in the show notes so folks can find and connect with you both. I love chatting with you. I could chat with you all
It was an absolute
day.
pleasure. I know. I could have chatted with you all day.
Thank you so much for
sharing.
sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing your wisdom with me and for the listeners. You've brightened my day. So I'm so excited that I got to connect with you today.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.